Hey guys, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs,
And I'm David Woldingen.
and it's time for pitchers and catchers to report. Spring training is upon us for Cardinal baseball, so we're going to give some initial thoughts and what we're looking for. Before we get into that, please guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like this video, leave us a comment. What are you looking to see out of spring training for the Cardinals? And also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on X. David, you know. I'm gonna be honest, this offseason has felt a lot longer than previous off seasons, and I think the reason for that is just really after the All-Star break, I think half the fan base just tuned out because the team was going nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like while they made some moves, there wasn't that high end name brand that everybody wanted the Cardinals to go out and sign too. So in that instance, then while they made a ton of moves to help shore up this team, I mean, it didn't really excite people, if you will.
Yeah, the Cardinals signed the three starters pretty quickly once the offseason began free agency. It was what in order, I believe it was Lance Lynn and then Kyle Gibson the next day, I think.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, Sonny Gray, that being the crown jewel transaction of the offseason. And that is a good move. Let's make no mistake. The starting pitching is going to be better almost by default. I feel confident in that. What I want to see is guys who are pitching to contact, throwing strikes.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be rough to start, I think, in a sense that the guys you've signed with the staff you have right now was a three out of the five
Mm-hmm.
gave up the most hits last year. So there is going to be contact with the baseball. It's just a matter of is it leaving the yard or is it put into play where your defense can do what they need to do to make plays on the ball.
You know, I feel like pitching to contact still is more good than bad for the Cardinals because there's just too much individual talent for the defense to be as terrible as it was a year ago. You have Arenado, who had the worst defensive year of his career, and you can say that definitively because it's the only season he did not win a Gold Glove, right? That's elite talent, of course. Center field, whether it's Tommy Edman or Lars Nootbaar, you feel good. You feel good wherever Brendan Donovan is. Goldie is Gold Glove caliber over at first. There is talent defensively. So, yeah, throw strikes.
Well, and
Make
You have
yeah,
Mason
yeah,
Win.
yeah, that's without even talking about Win,
Yeah,
who we all know the
has
potential. It's just a matter of putting it all together at the big league level. And
right.
we'll talk about him a little bit more in a little bit here. But yeah, just make the batters swing, make them take the bat off their shoulder. I think that's the biggest thing for this rotation. I still would have liked to have seen the Cardinals make one more move, kind of as a safety valve.
They did.
Maybe not a Jordan Montgomery, although that would be awesome, right? He's still
They
available.
brought back the veteran Carpenter, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I'm talking as
I know
a
you're talking pitching, but
yeah. No, I worry with just the age. You know, John Denton had an article about Steven Matz and his goal for this season, make every start. And honestly, that's kind of where this rotation is because you look at them and they're all close to our age. That's
I think a bonus people aren't thinking about is if you have a Matthew Liberatore in the bullpen or even in the rotation at times, He can really learn from those veterans. Last year we had a lot of younger guys, along with Wainwright and them who are always hurt, but now they can actually see these guys pitch and maybe learn from them. Plus, the Cardinals did make a lot of trades and moves last year to bring in and bolster the pitching depth down in the minor leagues. So with these signings, it gives them a chance to develop these guys in the minor leagues, and you might see someone develop quicker than you expect during the season in AAA, and you might see a random call up here or there as a reward for like a spot start or something.
And see, that's I'm looking at it that same type of situation. A guys making a spot start. I'm looking at it from the perspective of Lance Lynn's out 3 weeks with whatever because he's 36 years old, whatever, 37, whatever he is. And you've got these guys who are, let's face it, towards the end of their careers. They're not 23, 24, 25. So the wear and tear is there. You have to plan on guys hitting the IL. And right now, the only option appears to me to be Matthew Liberatore as kind of your emergency starter. And
Well,
that's risky in my opinion.
and I think they're going to give a couple other guys a chance to win that last spot too, besides Libertor. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the spring training, just to see who they give extended looks to. Because I remember they sent what Thompson down to get
That
stretched out,
disaster.
which ended terribly. But now that he's had a year to prepare, who knows what might happen in spring training? Uh,
And see, I don't think the front office will allow there to be much competition unless someone absolutely implodes. They shelled out this money. They they gave Miles Michaelis an extension. Matz has a big contract. Those two will get every opportunity to be in the starting rotation, in my opinion, along with Lynn Gibson and Sonny Gray. I think the front office is to a certain extent going to put their foot down and say, no, those are the five. We're paying for them to be the five. They are the five because that's how front offices work.
well,
If you
and
watch us
Mats wasn't.
regularly, you've heard me lament that fact ad nauseum, but that's how it's going to work.
No, and I agree with you, but I will say this. Uh Mats wasn't terrible when he was
No,
able
no.
to go. So if he can actually meet his goal and stay healthy, which again questions his durability, the fact that he's even saying that. Uh I mean he could be a potential huge role player for the Cardinals this
Oh,
season.
if he can make more than 25 starts, I think you consider it a plus, especially if he performs as he did in the middle, call it middle half of the season. He was not
Shoot,
maybe he was great.
the way he's been going with us, if he makes 20 starts, it's a plus.
Ah, now, we've been talking starting pitching this entire video, but the bullpen, you may remember right before the trading deadline, Derek Gould put out a tweet that was just mind blowing. And it was about the Cardinals. At the time, they were 45 and 57 with, I'm just going to pull it up here. I believe it was 24 blown saves at that point. And yeah, they had 24 blown saves. If they had had the same amount of blown saves as the Cubs, who had nine, they'd have been 60 and 42. If they had the same as the Brewers or Pirates, they would have been 10 games above 500. All this to say, despite the starting rotation being as big of a train wreck as it was, they kind of did their job enough, and then the bullpen blew it all too often. So,
Or you could
well,
argue the offense did their job enough and the bullpen blew it
well, that
because
too.
the starters weren't going long enough for the bullpen to you, or the starters weren't going long enough to even get like recorded chances as wins or losses, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of phrasing it. The offense did enough to get you to the seventh, eighth, ninth. And then yeah, Gio Gallegos, not the same dude we've seen the 4 or 5 years previous. Red Helsley, not healthy. And by the end of the season, Ollie Marmol probably was just assigning a name to a number in a deck of cards and just picking a card out of a deck to see who's going to pitch. Because it didn't matter because they were going to suck anyway. That's where they were at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So in that light, I want to see Helsley throwing at or close to 100 in spring training, working that. I want to see him healthy. I want to see Gallegos having more control. Walks were an issue with him. And then I'm excited to see Keenan Middleton. Yeah, the kind of late sneaky signing of about 2 weeks ago. Played last season with the White Sox and Yankees. I think that's going to be a useful signing for the Cardinals to stabilize that bullpen. Perhaps
Well,
even your seventh inning guy.
here's something else that I thought was interesting. When Sonny Gray came over, he mentioned in an interview that he had talked with the front office about different supports that clubs were offering the pitchers that the Cardinals did not have.
Yeah.
And it sounded like Mozeliak in the front office took that to heart and started putting in work. So if they were able to put those supports in place, that might be a tremendous help not only to the rotation but to the bullpen as well.
Yeah. You have to have more. It goes back to what my first thought. There was just nobody reliable left because they'd all been burned out.
Mhm.
And that goes back to them being ineffective, which
Well, and that goes back to
starting
starting
pitching,
pitching.
not going
Yeah,
deep enough.
not yeah, they just weren't going deep enough.
Yeah, when you had Liberatore, Jake Woodford at 95 pitches getting pulled after 3 2/3, the whole bullpen was just throwing their hands up like, guys, can't do this to us. And yeah, their starting rotation did repeatedly.
Now, Eric, we had
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier, but pitching to contact and the potential with the way this roster has been designed, they kind of want to have your shortstop as Mason Wynn.
Yeah.
They plan on bringing him up and using him. He has a lot of range and he has a strong, strong arm.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, where that comes in is with the new shift rules. It's more of a traditional type uh, shortstop, kind of like an Ozzie Smith, if you will, where you just have to have that range to make plays. And I kind of get the feeling that's how the Cardinals feel about Mason Wynn. And if he's able to suck up a lot of those balls on the ground, uh, and actually give us the range right there, it could be a difference between a lot of those seeing eye singles, if you will, making it through to the outfield, getting sucked up and getting those outs at first. That could be major in keeping those pitchers in the game a lot longer.
Yeah, I agree. My big point was that I feel like the Cardinals have constructed the roster with Wynn in mind as to be the starting shortstop. I think they are hoping for that
Now,
because
if
if he
Wynn's,
can't do it, I think you're looking at Brendan Donovan maybe over there,
I was gonna
maybe
say now,
Edmund if they have to, and
maybe
then
even
just
Carpenter
sticking.
thrown out there.
Gosh, no. Well, I was gonna say Donovan or Edmund there, and then Gorman playing more every day in second at second base instead of being your DH, which I don't think they want to do because I think Wynn's defensive ceiling combined with Gorman at second, I think Wynn being out there makes two positions better defensively, right?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree.
So you root for that one. You want your prospect to show up and show out, but the impact it has on other positions if Wynn just can't hit, or if for some reason his defensive game just isn't there. I don't see that
Well,
happening, but you know, Hope it doesn't.
The other thing worth mentioning is with Tyler O'Neill gone, you have Newt Bar out there along with depending on who's DHing, you have Walker out there, possibly Edmund and center, and then the guy we're all forgetting about who's also kind of injury prone, but you won't see him every day, in my opinion, anymore, is Dylan
Still
Carlson will
going,
fill
yeah.
in too. So I think if the outfielders can stay healthy, I think you're going to see a much more constant rotation out there. And I think that will help solidify the defense as well and take away all that guessing and matchmaking out there because you're playing who's healthy, who's not, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely depth defensively. The Cardinals can run three deep in center field with potential gold glove defense in Edmund, Newtbar, and Carlson, which I can't think of another team that can do that, which is nice, but with the thing the Cardinals have to figure out, it is just a quirk. Uh, we talked about the one up and comer in Mason Wynn. Looking at the outfield, Jordan Walker having an up and down, and then finishing kind of up rookie season. I think I'm looking for him to see, can he progress defensively? I
Mhm.
don't think he's ever going to be a Gold Glove outfielder, but can he make himself serviceable? That's something where I think he's still figuring it out, which, all right, fair enough. And then, yeah, at the dish, he when he gets a hold of it, it comes off the bat unlike anybody else on the team.
Yeah. And like you said, he was up and down mainly because of his bat. Uh, Kind of seemed like he was stretching the swings a little bit. His bat speed was slowing down, which is why they sent him down. But when he came back up, he was tearing the cover off the ball again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about that sophomore slump now. Can he avoid that? And as you say, defensively, can he also progress offensively? And instead of taking those line drives right at uh, defenders, can he put it in the gaps? Can he place the ball? Can he do what he wants with it? That would be the next step in his game, as well as cutting down on strikeouts.
Now we've gotten this far. We're almost done with this video, and we haven't even talked about the offense. And for a team that was as disastrous as the Cardinals, it's weird, but I mean, Goldie came back down to earth from his 2022 MVP season, but he was solid. Arenado was solid. Those are your big two. Wilson Contreras ended up doing about what he normally does. And that's even despite his disastrous start all the way around. Nolan Gorman really came on, 30 home run caliber offense there. And you touched on it earlier. Yeah, the old sage of a bat and Matt Carpenter. Potential to be a spot starter at first to give Goldie a day off there. Maybe a DH if Nolan Gorman is hurt or if he's playing second base or something. It's interesting. I think the offense, there's not that much really to question. They all kind of tailed off the last 6 weeks of the season, but that's because it was a franchise not used to being in that position. I think they were almost shell shocked, and I think they do. I think they kind of mailed it in at the end, honestly.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And I would also say on paper, you're still looking at a top 10 offense. They can put up
Heard
the
that in my
numbers.
opinion, but yeah, I
Yeah.
get point taken.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly would expect them to be higher than that. But if everyone's clicking, but on average, I would expect them to be a top 10 offense. And with Carpenter with a little bit of pop coming off the bench, that's going to help if you need a quick pinch hitter somewhere or something different off the bench. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah, someone get out the 6-year-old salsa and let him go nuts like 2018.
I know, I know they brought him on more as a veteran presence for the young guys. So, and I think they've explained that role to him too. Hopefully, Ollie got the message and doesn't try to throw him out there every day. But uh, with the potential firepower in this offense, if they're all clicking, and if you get just 6 solid innings out of your starter and the bullpen does its job, this team could go on a roll, which is kind of what they never did last year. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it all comes together, and I'm really looking forward to seeing spring training and how they manage the bullpen and the starters for that matter, and just to see who they're looking at for that fifth starter.
Yeah, I can't recall an off season, a spring training where there was that much that we genuinely had to look forward to because of uncertainty.
But I will say this: after last year, you can only go up. So until spring training starts, we'll try to keep you guys updated with all things Cardinals. Until then, thank you for watching.